Hi, everybody. Sorry no video last week. We've had a series of personal and technical issues that have kind of slowed us down. And we're also doing things a little out of order. We were going to save the chief's son for last, but we're going to do him now, and we're going to get his battle brother next week. The life of a chief's son is a life of trial and judgment. Unlike humans, elves, and their ilk, a chief's son is only presumed to rule after his father. It's not promised. If he shows weakness, other warriors will challenge him. If he shows foolishness, the people won't trust his leadership. He must be friendly to the folk so they give him loyalty, but not so much that they won't fear him. He must show devotion to the gods so the priests will support him, but not so much that the priests will seek to control him. Most of all, he must prove himself in battle time and time again, and he must learn from his father the power to call upon the spirits, the power that has given his line the right to rule. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our 2-year anniversary episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Sapil. Today we tell the tale of the leader of the warband, the son of the chief. While the Goblin clan consists of goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears, it is the hobgoblins who rule. From as far as the elders can recall, the hobgoblins have held leadership and the current chief's family more often than most. We are using the hobgoblin from the Monsters of the Multiverse. The strength of the hobgoblins comes from the unity, and they have the abilities to support this. The first is Fey Gift. A number of times per long rest equal to his proficiency modifier, he can use the help action as a bonus action. Help can accomplish many things, but the main reason to use it as a bonus action is in combat. Using help in combat can give the person you help advantage on their attacks. At 3rd level, when he uses help with this feature, he can also grant one of the following gifts. Hospitality, which gives both the person he helps and himself 1d6 plus his proficiency modifier temporary hit points. Or he can give the gift of passage. The help creature and himself gain 10 feet of movement until the start of his next turn. Or he can give the gift of spite. The next time within a minute that a creature he helps hits a target, that target gets disadvantage on his next attack he makes. The other feature he gets that represents the Hobgoblin's unity is Fortune of the Many. When he fails an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, he can add a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies he has within 30 feet. The bonus can exceed a +3, and he can use this ability a number of times equal to his proficiency modifier each long rest. In addition to the fate gifts, hobgoblins, like all goblin kind, have the Fey ancestry, giving them advantage on saving throws to resist or end the charmed condition. Hobgoblins are medium-sized creatures with a movement speed of 30 feet. They have dark vision out to 60 feet, and hobgoblins speak common and one language of their choice, and we're choosing goblin here. Hobgoblins have the ability score boosts common to the Monsters of the Multiverse, which are 3+1 bonuses that you can put wherever you want, but no more than 2 on the same ability. Using the point buy system, we put a 15 on strength, making it 16 with a bonus point, which will be the main attacking stat. We put a 13 on dexterity, making it 14 with the second bonus point. He will be wearing medium armor, and we need it for multi-classing. We put a 13 on constitution, making it 14 with the last bonus point. He is a melee fighter and needs to be tough. We put a 10 on both intelligence and wisdom. More of both would be great, but we don't have the spare points we need. Last, we put a 12 on charisma. He is a leader and needs to command loyalty. As the son of a chief, we will be using the noble background. It gives the skills persuasion and history. It also gives proficiency with 1 additional language, and he chooses giant, as they are often allies and sometimes enemies. The background feature is position of privilege. He is welcome among the elite of the Goblin Society and is treated with respect among Goblin clans unless they are enemies. Common folk try to accommodate him to avoid displeasing him and tend to assume he has the right to do whatever he wants. He also secures an audience with local nobles if they recognize his clan.
From as long as he can remember, his father's been training him. As soon as he could speak, he was taught the wisdom of the clan. Unlike some people, Goblinkind doesn't value sacrifice or honorable death. Sayings such as, "He who fights and runs away live to fight another day," or "The only fair fight is the one we win," define the philosophy of a goblin warrior. Not that they won't fight fiercely and bravely in battle, they certainly do, but dying for the cause or going down with the ship are not things they consider. If a battle can't be won, it's best to flee. If an enemy can be beaten through deception and ambush, that is better than wasting lives on the battlefield. He has proven himself in battle many times alongside his sworn brother in battle, raiding human merchants for supplies or battling the orcs, kobolds, and gnolls who share the vast caverns that humans call the Caves of Chaos. He also studies the secret lore of his family. Warriors of his bloodline can call upon the spirits of the dead, both those of revered ancestors and of fallen enemies. He has seen his father call a spirit warrior to fight at his side and to unleash the anguished wails of the dead as a weapon against his enemies. And if he is to rule, he must learn these powers as well. Our hero begins play as a rogue. Skill with weapons is important, but skill and subtlety even more so. He gains 4 skills from the rogue list, and he chooses perception, intimidation, stealth, and athletics. He is proficient with light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. He can use a rapier if you like, but we prefer the short sword for style, and it's only 1 less damage on average. He's proficient with thieves' tools, as well as dexterity and intelligence saves. He also gains expertise with 2 of his skills, and he chooses intimidation and athletics. He needs to be strong and fearsome to properly lead a goblin community. He knows the language thieves can't, which is composed of slang and code in many languages that sounds like normal speech to those who know it, and it can pass and use it to pass messages that go unnoticed to other people. He has sneak attack, allowing him to add 1d6 damage to 1 attack per turn if he has advantage on that attack, or if he doesn't have disadvantage, and another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it. This damage increases as he gains rogue levels. To use sneak attack, he must be using a finesse or a ranged weapon. At 2nd level, he takes 1st level fighter. This gives him proficiency with medium armor, martial weapons, and shields. He will continue using his short sword as he needs it for sneak attack, and he will carry several daggers for throwing. He will wear a chain shirt and use a shield, and he will want to upgrade his breastplate as soon as possible. He also gets Second Wind, allowing him to use a bonus action to heal 1d10 plus his fighter level and hit points once per short or long rest. He gets a fighting style, and he takes dueling, giving him plus 2 damage when wielding a weapon one-handed. His father has made a bargain with a group of human priests. They came with a small group of humans that worship whatever strange gods human worship. They offered gold in exchange for refuge in the caves. They also claimed to have made plans with the hill giants to invade the human lands, offering the clan the opportunity for plunder in exchange for helping these priests gain rulership over other humans. Such power struggles were well understood by goblinkind, and the chief thought it was a fine opportunity for the clan, so he made these humans welcome and plotted with them. All seemed well for a time until the demon women came. He knew they weren't really demons, they were fiend bloods, also called tieflings, but the common folk called them demon women, and they certainly fought like demons. There were only 4 of them, but they tore through the goblins that stood against them. He led his warriors in a holding action, while the women, children, and elderly fled to the secret parts of the cavern, and used a series of feints and withdrawals to draw the intruders deep into the warrens, where other warriors waited in ambush. But the demon women failed to take the bait, instead making their way to where the human visitors were sheltering. When he became aware of this, he changed tactics and ordered his warriors to collapse their front and let the demon women through to the human cultists. The demon women obligingly let his warriors retreat and went on to pursue whatever cause they had against the priests. After the scouts reported that the demon women had left and the clan returned to their homes, it was found that the demon women had slaughtered the humans, taking their treasure and leaving without further troubling his people. It seemed to be a favorable outcome. His people took few losses and the enemy was gone, but his father, the chief, was displeased. The humans, he said, had an artifact of great power and the demon women stole it. The chief told our hero to assemble a warband to steal the artifact back, while the chief led a raid against the human town as a distraction. At 3rd level, he becomes a 2nd level fighter, getting Action Surge, allowing him to take an extra action on his turn once each short or long rest. He was pleased with his warband. He chose his battle brother, of course. They have trained together since they were small, and his brother swore a sacred oath before the moon goddess to always support and protect him. In return, he is given high standing in the tribe. He is also the only one who can freely criticize and disagree with him, and in many ways is our hero's only true friend. His battle brother brought a friend of his, a goblin hermit said to be a mystic, a healer, and a shapeshifter. Our hero also asks another goblin to join, a spider rider who is known for both his stealth and skill with a bow. The clan's wise women argued against the raid, but as always supported the chief's final decision, asking only that one of theirs accompany the raid. At first our hero was concerned that it would be sheltering a weak old witch, but instead he was given a strong bugbear woman. He knew who this woman was. She bore the mark of the Almer cat, the first woman known to do so. By right she should be standing high among the warriors of the clan, but as a woman his father instead sent her to study with the witches. Although she came bearing all the mystical trappings of the witches, she also bore a sword and appeared very competent in its use, and he was pleased to have her join him. The raid went as planned. Using his father's attack as cover, it was a simple matter for his warband to invade the town, locate where the tieflings were staying, and liberate the artifact, along with as much loot as they could grab. His warband grumbled about fleeing the fighting, but he made his orders clear and they made their escape.
At 4th level, he becomes a 3rd level fighter, becoming an Echo Knight. We haven't used this subclass before on the Dungeon Crashers. It is from the Explorer's Guide of Wildmount, which is a campaign world used by Critical Role. Guy and I don't use this world, but the class and other material are official D&D content, so we are going to reflavor it to suit our campaign. Our main campaign is Guy's homebrew world, and it has a very dark feel to it, filled with plot and intrigue, with supernatural horror lurking just below the surface. Our other campaign that we play when Guy needs a break is the world I'm creating, which also has a horror theme to it, so we are going to give this class a dark spin. The class as written is about time magic. The warrior calls an echo of himself from an alternate timeline. For our story, he instead calls the spirit of a fallen warrior from his clan to fight alongside him. Other than flavor, we are using the subclass exactly as written, and in your game you can use the original flavor of it or anything else you and your DM decide that works. As an Echo Knight, he can call upon a warrior spirit to an unoccupied space within 15 feet of himself. It appears as a gray translucent figure that lasts until it is destroyed. He is incapacitated, he dismisses it as a bonus action, or calls another Echo. The Echo has an AC of 14 plus his proficiency bonus, 1 hit point, and immunity to all conditions. It uses your saving throws bonuses. It is medium sized and it occupies its own space, and he can mentally command the Echo to move 30 feet in any direction. No action required, and if the Echo is more than 30 feet from him, it is destroyed. As a bonus action, he can teleport, switching places with the Echo at a cost of 15 feet of movement. When he takes the attack action, he can have any attacks originate from the space of the Echo, and he chooses separately for each attack. When a creature he can see moves at least 5 feet from the Echo, he can use his reaction to make it an opportunity attack from the Echo's space. Also, a number of times per long rest equal to his Constitution modifier, he can use Unleash Incarnation and make 1 additional attack from the Echo's location during his attack action. Since the Echo counts as a creature, he can use Sneak Attack if the Echo is within 5 feet of his target. After retrieving the artifact, he decides that they should head immediately to the Hill Giant's steading. The witch sends her familiar to notify his father of the plan. The journey to the Hill Giant's steading was a dangerous one. Many hostile people inhabit the land, and they encounter many of them, the worst of which is an orc warband led by an ogre. This was no ordinary ogre. This was an experienced marauder and raider that his father had often spoken of. He and his battle brother rush to engage the ogre. He summons a warrior spirit to aid them, but the ogre is still a deadly foe. He is concerned for his companions, fighting the orcs that outnumber them 2 to 1, but he needn't have been. His allies fought heroically. The spider rider unleashes a hail of poison arrows. The hermit transforms into a great black panther that resembles the Almer cat and begin tearing into the orcs. And the witch rushed into battle, wielding both sword and spells, until her rage comes upon her, at which point she casts aside her sword and grew great claws on her hands and begins slaughtering the orcs in her fury. At 5th level, he becomes a 4th level fighter, getting an ability score bonus or a feat, and he chooses the Shield Master feat. It gives a number of abilities. When forced to make a dexterity save to avoid damage, he can add his shield bonus to the roll, and if he succeeds on the dexterity save to take half damage, he takes no damage instead. He can also shove as a bonus action against a creature within 5 feet when he takes the attack action. He has good strength and expertise in athletics. He should be able to knock most enemies prone, and he has advantage against prone enemies. Having advantage allows him to use sneak attack, so he will use this quite frequently. At 6th level, he becomes a 5th level fighter, getting extra attack, allowing him to make 2 attacks instead of 1 when he takes the attack action. This will let him make 1 attack from his space and 1 from his echoes.
Upon arriving at the Hill Giant steading, he expected a welcome and an audience with the chief as befits his station. Instead, they received minimal hospitality and threats and rudeness from the chief. took a mixture of diplomacy and intimidation to dissuade the chief from attempting to make he and his companions into servants, but even after that their welcome was unpleasant, and he wished to leave quickly. The hill giant chief showed no interest in trading for the artifact, or even enough to attempt to steal it. The hill giant's wife privately told the witch that the frost giant Jarl would give them better hospitality and would likely want the artifact, but winter was coming and he dreaded a trek into the northern ice. He decided they would bide at the giant's steading for a time before making their way home. At 7th level, he becomes a 6th level fighter, getting another ability score improvement or feat, and he increases his constitution to 16, getting more hit points and more uses of his Unleash Incarnation ability. At 8th level, he becomes a 2nd level rogue, getting cunning action. Now he can dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action. This gives him excellent mobility in battle. Combining this with his echo will allow him to be wherever he is needed in battle to support his allies and reliably deliver sneak attacks. He now has many uses for his bonus action: Unleash Incarnation, Cunning Action, Shoving with Shieldmaster, and Teleporting with his Incarnation. At 9th level, he becomes a 3rd level rogue, getting his roguish archetype, and he chooses Phantom. Phantom rogues deal with spirits of the dead, calling on the spirits of fallen enemies to use as tools and weapons. He gains Whispers of the Dead. Whenever he finishes a short or long rest, he gains 1 tool or skill proficiency until he finishes his next rest. He usually chooses Deception when in a civilized area or Survival in a wilderness, but he can prepare for a variety of situations, learning Herbalist or Poisoner supplies to create poisons or healing potions in his spare time, or Alchemist supplies to create useful items. He can also call upon knowledge of arcana, religion, medicine, or nature if needed. He also gains Wails from the Grave. When he hits a creature with a sneak attack, he can choose another creature within 30 feet of the first and have spirits attack it. He rolls half of his sneak attack damage rounded up and deals that much necrotic damage to them. He can use this ability a number of times equal to his proficiency modifier each long rest. His sneak attack improves here, becoming 2d6. The Spider Rider alerts him to the demon women attacking the steading. They came in the darkness, using stealth to infiltrate the hill giant's home, but his warband was even stealthier. Knowing that he owed the hill giant chief no favors, he elected to have his warband leave the steading and head home. But his warband had another suggestion. They had secretly been stealing supplies from the hill giant stores, food, wine, and warm furs that were clearly intended for giant children. Being well equipped for a journey north, he decided that they would visit the frost giant Jarl and try to sell the artifact. At 10th level, he becomes a 4th level rogue, getting an ability score improvement or feat, and he takes the defensive duelist feat, allowing him to use a reaction when hit with an attack to add his proficiency modifier to his armor class, possibly causing the attack to miss. At 11th level, he becomes a 5th level rogue, getting uncanny dodge. When he takes damage from a source he can see, he can use his reaction to only take half damage from that source. His sneak attack also improves, becoming 3d6. At 12th level, he becomes a 6th level rogue, getting expertise in 2 more skills, and he chooses Perception and Stealth. At 13th level, he becomes a 7th level fighter, and he gets the ability to use his Echo as an avatar. As an action, he can see through the Echo's eyes and hear through its ears. While doing so, he is blinded and deafened. He can sustain this ability for up to 10 minutes or until he dismisses it, no action required. While using this ability, the Echo can move up to 1,000 feet without being destroyed. The ability does not say he is incapacitated, so he can still make attacks from the Echo's position and, if necessary, teleport by switching places with the Echo. This could allow him to scout ahead as the Echo, even sneak attacking enemies, then teleport, swapping places with the Echo, and ending the avatar effect, allowing him to act normally. He could then use his bonus action to summon another Echo to his location. At 14th level, he becomes an 8th level fighter, getting an ability score improvement or feat, and he increases his strength to 18 to become a better fighter.
Yeah. Other than the biting cold, the trek to the Frost Giant's home was without any major incidents. They encountered a number of bandits and snow beasts, but none that were a serious challenge. Upon reaching the Jarl's keep, they receive a proper welcome. The Jarl knew who his father was and welcomed the party as visiting nobles. They were given every hospitality, and the Jarl paid them well for the artifact and told them of his plans. He was working with the fire giants and other allies to invade the human kingdom, taking loot and territory. He encouraged our hero to enlist his father and the clan to join in their war, and our hero thinks this is a good idea. They spent several weeks in the Jarl's home before the demon women struck. It seems they survived attacking the hill giant steading and had pursued them. Believing this was no fight of his, he intended to return home. Although he agreed with the witch when she said that it was their duty to inform the Jarl of the attack and their desire to leave. The Jarl was an honorable creature, and he agreed that they did not owe him their swords in battle and was confident he could handle the intruders. But he asked them for their help on another matter. He needed the artifact delivered to the Fire Giant King quickly, and he would be delayed fighting the intruders. He offered the band a reward if they agreed to carry the artifact to the fire giants, and he would send them to the volcano where the fire giants dwell through a magical portal. Finding the reward tempting and wanting to get far away from the demon women, our hero agrees and they pass through the portal. At 15th level, he becomes the 7th level of rogue, gaining evasion. When he makes a dexterity saving throw to take half damage, he takes no damage instead, and only takes half damage even if he fails. His sneak attack also improves again, becoming 4d6. At 16th level, he becomes an 8th level rogue, gaining an ability score improvement or a feat, and he caps his strength at 20 to be the best warrior he can be. Combined with his expertise in athletics and shield master, he is going to be very effective at making enemies prone. At 17th level, he becomes a 9th level of rogue and gains tokens of the departed. When a creature dies within 30 feet of him, he collects a small trinket called a soul token. He can have a number of these at a time equal to his proficiency modifier, and when he has one, it empowers him, giving him advantage on constitution saves and death saves. When he deals sneak attack damage, he can destroy one of these trinkets to use Wails of the Grave without expending a use of that ability. He can destroy one of these trinkets to ask the spirit associated with it a question. The creature must answer, but is not required to answer truthfully. The rules don't say, but as a DM, I'd allow such things as Zone of Truth to compel it to be honest, and I'd allow skills such as Persuasion or Intimidation to encourage it to be truthful. It knows only what it knew in life and answers concisely as possible in order to be free. His sneak attack improves again, becoming 5d6. The Fire Giant King also greeted them with proper hospitality and was happy to receive the artifact. He also seemed taken with the wise woman, seeing her as a knowledgeable sage, and he confided that he was allied with the Dark Elves, and they would join the attack on the human kingdom in order to gain a base in the surface world to make war on their elven enemies. He asks that they take the artifact to a drow matron in the Underdark and offers them magical weapons as a reward for undertaking this errand. Seeing this as not only an opportunity for a reward, but a chance to get away from the tieflings if they somehow survive the attacks of the frost giants, they used the passage located below the King's Hall to enter the Underdark, taking with them a pass that will allow them to get past the drow guard posts. At 18th level, he becomes a 10th level of rogue, gaining another ability score improvement or a feat, and he increases his constitution to 18 for more hit points and more uses of his Unleash incarnation.
The journey through the Underdark involved battling many strange creatures, including a strange race of fish people called Kuatoa. But the worst were the Illithids, vile creatures that humans call mind flayers, and that name is a good description. They use powerful mind magic to dominate and destroy their prey, and they use their facial tentacles to draw out and consume their victim's brain. The warband is taken to turn off the main path to the Drow City and stumbled upon the Illithid nest, and were quickly set upon by the creatures. The battle was terrifying, but his warband had become a well-oiled fighting unit. The wise woman and the hermit quickly cast spells to empower themselves, and shifted into bestial forms and began attacking the creatures. The Spider Rider took his mount up the side of the cavern and rained poison arrows on the Illithids with incredible speed and accuracy. He and his battle brother functioned as one, aiding each other's attack and protecting each other from harm. His echo was a fearsome weapon against the Illithids, as the creature's mind powers had no effect on it. Though they were gravely wounded, they prevailed against the mind flayers, and the hermit used his power to heal their wounds before they continued on their way. At 19th level, he becomes a 9th level fighter, gaining a use of Indomitable. Once per short or long rest, when he fails a saving throw, he can re-roll it and use the new result. The Drow matron was glad to receive the artifact, but informed them that the fire giant Jarl had been slain and that the tieflings were attempting to enter the Underdark. But she said not to worry. Before he was slain, the fire giant king magically warned her of the tieflings, and she has put forces in place to intercept any invaders. The matron gave his warband proper hospitality, but was clear in her disdain for the male members of the party, treating only the wise woman with any warmth or friendliness. The drow males were somewhat better. Although they were every bit as arrogant as the surface elves he had encountered, they were friendly enough, and they were particularly impressed with the Spider Rider's mount. After some time in the Drow City, the warband was alerted by the Wise Woman that the demon women had somehow made their way to the matron's chambers, and the matron's guards were nowhere to be found, so she was fighting all the demon women alone. Not wanting to join a losing battle, she escaped with the artifact and came to alert her comrades. They could think of no way to safely escape until the Wise Woman remembered that the matron spoke of a portal in her shrine that would lead to the abyssal home of the demon queen Loth that the matron worshipped. He overcame his dread of entering the abyss and decided that the demon queen would want the artifact and news of the tieflings, and even if she didn't reward them, would at least have enough gratitude to allow them to return to their home. At least that was his hope. So they took the artifact and fled into the demon web pits. At 20th level, he becomes a 10th level fighter and gains Shadow Martyr. Once per short or long rest, when a creature he can see is attacked, he can use this reaction to cause his echo to teleport within 5 feet of that creature, and the attack will target the echo instead of the original target. This character really takes advantage of the action economy. Having many good uses for his reaction and his bonus action, he also has many ways to make sure that he makes a sneak attack on each of his turns. He can knock enemies prone, or he can flank them with his echo. He is an excellent team player, using his echo to aid his companions and using his Fey gift to support them. We also like the flavor of this character. He has the traits we see a Goblin Chief having. He is practical, being more concerned with the safety of himself as his companions than human notions of glory and honor. He is brave and fierce in battle, but seeks to avoid any fights that don't directly benefit his clan. He has good leadership skills and commands loyalty. The powers of Phantom Rogue and Echo Knight combine very well and create a unique sort of fighter that seems to effortlessly call upon spirits in battle. The Goblin Warband has a number of advantages as a party. They are all stealthy, they all have a strong presence in combat, and they all have abilities to support each other. The Hobgoblins have their Fey gift, with the Chief's Echo being useful in helping his allies, and his battle brother has his Paladin aura to strengthen his friends. The Witch and the Hermit have magic to help the party, and the Spider Rider's arrows can be directed to help whoever needs it most. We think this would be an excellent party to play, and we hope you've enjoyed it, and will tell us about it in the comments below, along with any suggestions or build ideas. And we hope you join us next week when we do our Hero's Battle Brother. Until then,
Cheers.